Namaste, namaskaram, vanakkam, namo namaha, jai Ganesha. Please visit our website at classicalyoga.org, and there is a donate button if you would like to help us out. And please, Hindus, stand up for the Hindu yoga, religious, spiritual, scientific, philosophical lifestyle. The proliferation of asat yoga is only getting worse, Hindus. Remember, in essence, there are only two yogas. Listen to our podcast on Kitane yogas, hey? How many yogas are there? Two, in a sense, Sat and Asat. And remember, this goes back thousands of years ago to the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, when the wise rishis realized, yes, there was untruth and truth. There has always been. And it's up to those who know the truth of something to help those who are telling a falsehood at best. Asato ma sadgamaya. Lead me from untruth to truth, unreal to real. Or we could say, in today's parlance, lead me from that which is phony, inauthentic, to that which is real and authentic. So, the so-called yoga of today has been totally distorted and totally taken out of context, totally divorced from its rightful place within the Hindu dharma. Hinduism, the Hindu religion. In fact, no yoga, no Hindu, no Hindu, no yoga. And no K-N-O-W, no yoga, you'll know Hinduism. No Hinduism and you know yoga. Remember in the Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gyan Yoga. Hanumanji, the great Karma Yogi and Bhakti Yogi. We first find the word yoga, yogaha, yoge, in the Rig Veda. Yoge samana parivam sapta shavato rato gat. And the Hindus were talking to each other. Hindu samudra idiyarti vayubir. Hindu, same thing. Hindu samudra idiyarti vayubir. Fellow Hindu, with the support of your breath, grab a hold of the cosmic ocean within. This is the very lifestyle of Hindu dharma. We are Hindus, we do yoga, which is defined, and remember, these are all Sanskrit and Tamil terms, and these are religious languages, the languages of Hinduism. Yoga, yuj atman brahman cha. To yok y-o-k-e, yuj, to your atmana. And it's different than the soul. The soul is still connected to the mind, but the atmana is literally not the mind, atmana, our inner essence. And we define it. It is sat, chit, ananda. Out of the tat, out of the no-thingness. It is the pure consciousness, pure existence, sat, pure energy, and which becomes an inner awakening or knowledge. Chid, and light, and heat, which becomes the human emotion of bliss or love, a warm experience. Sat Chit Ananda, the very science of life. The energy that can neither be created nor destroyed, hence no creator. And the light, invisible light and visible light, the many light spectrums, and also the feeling of lightness as opposed to depression. And also heat, which translates into bliss or warmth, that inner warm, contented, santoshi feeling within. So we are Hindus, a religion to which anyone can belong if they do enough study and make a formal commitment which always includes the Namakarana Samskara, a name change. That's how you can easily tell. It's a first level, of course. We want to be much more than just our name, but you can easily tell a Hindu from a non-Hindu by their very name. So there's no David that's a Hindu, or John that's a Hindu, or Matt that's a Hindu, or Kino that's a Hindu. Speaking of her, for example, she is an avowed Christian and yet pretends to be not only a yoga teacher, but have her own brand of yoga, Kino's Yoga. And you Hindus need to wake up, because just look around at the scandals, the nonsense in the name of yoga, hot yoga, power yoga, dog yoga. You know all of this. Come on. Such an insult. This comes from weak and capitulating Hindus. So, fellow Hindus, we are Hindus. And becoming a Hindu would be the first logical, honest, ethical step before ever attempting to teach, would it not? This would be true for any of the religions of the world. And remember, they're all given on a donation basis. It's not turned into a .com or a business. Right? So we are Hindus, and we do yoga. Yuj Atman Brahmancha. We are seeking to link to our Atmana, the inner essence, by taking care of the body, mind, and emotions in the outer world, Prakriti and Purusha. And then we join with the greater source of this Satchidananda, this Jyoti, Shakti, Ananda, Shanti, which we call Brahman. And remember, that's not God, please. God is an anthropomorphic deity for the Christians, capital G-O-D, a one male, as opposed to goddess, creator, being, noun. Hindus, we don't worship God. That's for the Christians. We have our own sacred terms. Why should they have the high road? And the word becomes then very superficial if God simply means whatever anybody wants it to mean. How superficial for something that's supposed to be profound, at least to the Christians. So Brahman is that greater source. It's a neuter term. The greater source of Satchit Ananda, of which we are an individual Jiv Atma. So profoundly, yoga is the Hindu lifestyle. We are seeking to join yoke, yuj, to our Atmana and then be absorbed in a greater source. Brahman, yuj, Atman, Brahman, Chan. How do we do this? Well, as Hindus, we follow the lifestyle. It's a religious lifestyle. Remember, to all sincere religious people, their religions are lifestyles to them, please. And remember, we incorporate under religion. That's the legal term that we use. A discrimination suit is filed under religion, so we don't want to nix that word. Dharma is our best word, of course, but religion is appropriate. That's how we're all incorporated, especially in the West, obviously. So we're Hindus, we do yoga, and we do all of it. And in order: Karma Yoga, Hindu ethics; Bhakti Yoga, Hindu devotions; Raja Yoga, Hindu contemplations. Remember, meditation is simply an English word that means to concentrate, and you can concentrate on anything. In English, the word contemplation is more suitable when we're going into the inner essence, and then we have to define what that is. Different religions look at it in a different way. They're not all the same, my friends. Come on, obviously, or there'll only be one. So we do these classic yogas: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, and then Gyan Yoga, which is both the outer scriptural study and more. Every Hindu is encouraged to study much about the world and other religions too. That's our Purva Paksha, seeing things from their point of view. But importantly, we want to get quiet enough on the inside to, as many have said, open the book within, the inner jnana. Karma Bhakti Raja Jnana. This is the way to nirvana. Yes, Buddhists use that term, but it comes from Hinduism. Remember, Buddhism comes right out of Hinduism. The Buddha was born and died a Hindu. And within these classic four yogas, which the Tamils term Charya, Kriya, Yoga, Jnanam, we have Hatha Yoga, Hindu devotional postures. They're devotional postures to the Atmana, to the various creatures, Nagdevata, for example, to the elements, to the manifestations of the elements, Vrikshasana, tree pose, which is profound because that one shows us the progressive nature of all of the yogas. Karma Bhakti Raja Jnana. And then in Hatha Yoga, we directly beseech Hindu devas and devis, not the spirit beings of any other religion, except in the distortion of, I guess, Christian yoga. How absurd, huh? And then we have mantra yoga. These are Hindu devotional chants. It's not just any chant, another word that's constantly misused in today's world. And that's because Hindus don't step up to the plate and try to correct people. It's the koi batni attitude, or the chaltahe. They just don't care, or it's somebody else's problem. This paints a pretty poor picture of the sincerity of Hindus. When we chant our mantras on beads, we call this japa yoga, our malas. Whether it's a sandalwood mala or a tulsi mala or a rudraksha mala. And then we have nada yoga and nata yoga, music and dance respectively. We always incorporate the primal aspects of what it is to be a religious person, music and dance. And what is the goal? The goal is Atmadarshana Paramo Dharma. Remember, dharma essentially means Hindu understanding of religious laws, Hindu duties that we perform. So with all of our very important duties in life, that's Ganesha's 1 foot down, if you will, Prakriti. Our most important overriding duty is to realize, see, experience, darshana, our inner essence, the Atmana. For logically, what happens when we leave planet Earth? We don't take anything with us. So Atma Darshana Paramo Dharma. So these three simple words, Hindu, Yoga, Atman, describes what it is to be a Hindu. We're Hindus. We do yoga, all of it, to reach Atmana. And this is found in the Vedas. Hindu Samudra Idiyarthi Vayubhir. And then Yoge Samana Parivam Sapta Shravato Rato Gat. Through this process of yoga, the many-faceted nature of yoga, we tap into the tranquil inner nature within this beautiful body itself, right? Taking care of the body. We find this beautiful inner nature. Yoge Samana Parivam Sapta Shravato Rato Gat. To reach Atmana, Vidmahitva Sahasra Satman. The rishis were saying, give us this knowledge of Atma Darshana. Yoga to Atma Darshana. We're Hindus, we do yoga to reach Atmana. Very simple and profound. However, today we have this proliferation of so-called yoga basically going around the world. And people claiming to be 200-hour professional certified, which means an authority, yoga teachers. Come on, folks. You Hindus know, anyone with any bit of logic, rationality knows that it takes a long time to master any subject. Hindus especially. Look at the decades you spend in learning your various musical instruments and dance and the language and the various arts and sculpture within the Hindu yoga dharma. And then you're allowing people in 200 hours. It takes 1,500 hours to become a doll groomer. Allowing them to be professional and even some of you are even joining in with this? Come on, folks. 200 hours? What? That's nonsense. And remember this. Something that's completely overlooked today, thus ignoring our ancient rishis and our scriptures. That of all the yogas, karma, bhakti, raja, jnana, hatha, mantra, japa, nada, nata, and all of this stimulates the inner awakening of kundalini. That's the outcome. It's not something to be taught separately. Of all these yogas, there was only one that the rishi said, don't display this one, keep it secret. Wow, how we have failed miserably. It's the very one that's out there under the guise of the misuse of simply the word yoga. When people hear that word today, yoga, they're thinking of stretching exercises, postures, however many other Sanskrit, remember it's the Hindu language, however many other Sanskrit Hindu words they use. When people hear the word yoga, they're thinking automatically of the one yoga, Hatha Yoga, though they probably don't even use that word. And that's the only one that the Rishi said keep secret. Why? Well, it should be obvious. Because yes, Hatha Yoga does deal with the asanas, the physical postures, to prepare the body for meditation. That's really what it's for. It's not to glorify the body. It's to prepare the body to, as Patanjali said, and remember he mentions absolutely no specific asana. So it's not a manual for Hatha Yoga. Simply sthira sukham asanam. Find one steady, comfortable pose so that you can go beyond the material world. Anyone who honestly reads the Yoga Sutras know that it's not about becoming a very effective worldly person. It's about transcending the world. That's Kaivalya. Purushartha sunyam Kaivalyam. The wealth of the Atmana experience is actually beyond the material world, beyond light itself. Tarivatra matra nirvarsa sunyam eva samadhi. Beyond speech itself. Yatovacho nirvartante aprapyas manasa saha. That was Yogi Gorakanath. And in these classic texts, whether it's Yogi Gorakanath Siddhasaranta Bhadati or the Hatha Yoga Pradipika of Yogi Svatmarama or the Siva Samhita or the Garanda Samhita. Remember, Yoga Sutra is not a manual for Hatha Yoga. Those other four on Hatha Yoga, they all said the same thing that Svatmarama said. Hatha, Vidya, Bhaveda Yavate Guya Niveda Tu Prakash Avaranam. This knowledge, Vidya, of Hatha, is powerful, Bhaveda. When you keep it secret and loses power, Niveda, when you display it too, Prakashavaranam. Guya, secret, the cave, also Skanda Murga, Guya, Guha. And all of those yogis beseeched Adina, the Shiva, because he's the epitome of the Hatha yogi in the forest. And the true yogi and yogini, remember Hindus, we're all yogis and yoginis in the fact that we follow the Hindu yoga lifestyle, yes. But the true yogi and yogini, these are renunciates. They're not in the world. They've disappeared from the world. And so when these people run around calling themselves yogis and yoginis, wow, in their yoga pants, etc., with their yoga businesses, their .coms, and their hot yoga and Kino's yoga, putting their name on it, how have you let this happen, Hindus? What is the matter with you? Why do you continue to capitulate rather than educate? And it's nothing new. It's been happening for centuries. We need to wake up and really stand up for the Dharma. And if we believe in the saying, protect the Dharma and the Dharma will protect you, well, we're not being protected because we don't protect it. We don't even stand up for it. In fact, many just join in. As one Hindu said to us one time, if you can't beat them, Swami, join them. That's the cliche of a coward. So recently there's a fellow named Matt Lerner that has opened a Facebook page called Yoga Teachers. And fellow Hindus, just go to Facebook, go on YouTube, and look at the massive amount of people totally misrepresenting themselves as yoga teachers. And is it not all about the body, showing off their bodies? And it's primarily women, but there are men too. And sadly, Indian Hindus, I guess they're Hindus, some don't even want to use the word, are joining in this and showing off their bodies, completely disrespecting Svatmarama and Yogi Gorakhnath, and actually Sivan Parvati from the Siva Samhita, and Sage Giranda, who said, don't display this yoga. If you do, dire consequences. What we have today. The total misuse. Misrepresentation of the sacred Hindu yogas from the Vedas. Yoge samane parivam sapta shrivatu ratugat. So this fellow begins by setting out his bio, and it's amazing how so few people see through this. So obviously, first and foremost, he doesn't have a Sanskrit Hindu name. Remember, when you become a part of any of the religions of the world, a basically integral part is taking on a name. I mean, naming is what we do as human beings. That's the first thing we generally ask someone. When people get converted from Hinduism or other religions into Christianity, for example, they're given a Christian name. They become now, instead of Mahesh, they become James. Or instead of Devi, they become Mary. So very important, the Namakarana Samskara. This shows commitment. And again, one can study the various religions of the world. They don't have to commit to them. But if they choose to become a teacher, well then first and foremost, they would have to commit to that religion and take it very seriously and then intensive study before ever attempting to lead other people. Anything short of that is disingenuous and hurtful. And we've seen the effects of this. I mean, there have been numerous scandals that many people seemingly have forgotten. Just look at the infamous Bikram Choudhury and his hot yoga. Actually, that's a street term for stolen. So really, if today's yoga is not Hindu, it's all hot. It's all stolen from the Hindu yoga dharma. So we're insulting all the rishis that put so much time into the development of all of these beautiful disciplines. We're insulting Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. We're insulting Hanumanji, the epitome of the Karma Yoga and the Bhakti Yogi. We're insulting all of our devatas. Why do we do this, Hindus? Are we that weak? Are we that anxious to so-called fit in? So this fellow Matt begins by saying Namaste, which is a Hindu greeting. Claims to be a yoga and meditation teacher. Unfortunately, many Hindus also use this. It's very inappropriate. A truthful person who was just teaching an exercise class in stretching, for example, and concentration, would say they're teaching a class in stretching and meditation or concentration. That'd be fine. They could even charge money for that, no problem. But when you combine yoga and meditation, now we have a huge problem. You're combining a Sanskrit word with an English word, and you're also distorting the word yoga to mean just what should be called hatha yoga. Remember, that was not supposed to be displayed anyway. But a more accurate way would be to say that we're teaching Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga. And of course, this is all about the Hindu Dharma. But again, we're supposed to keep the Hatha Yoga basically secret. I mean, it's not that we can't teach it, but it shouldn't be on display. And remember again, the word Hatha is a direct worship of Hara and Hari, or Siva and Vishnu, and the moon and the sun, respectively, Chandra and Surya, Hatha Yoga. And then this fellow goes on to boastfully claim that he studied in ashrams in America and India, and is a direct disciple of the late Swami Rama. Interesting. Swami Rama was actually sued for sexual misconduct. And herein, again, is something that we need to be totally aware of. That many of these Indian gurus, quote unquote, who generally deny the word Hindu. Why? Because they'd lose students, they'd lose popularity, they'd lose money, they'd lose the fame. They denied the word Hindu and set up these massive organizations, many of which destroyed the lives of many people. You can listen to our podcast on the con art of living. Do a little homework on the past monetary and sexual scandals that ruined the lives of many people. And these were Indian, quote-unquote, gurus that came to America and set up these massive movements, many of which have totally disappeared. So he claimed to be a direct disciple of Swami Rama and part of the Yoga Alliance and heavily into meditation, and following the traditional 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali. And then when queried, why are you not a Hindu, or are you teaching Hinduism? For this is all about Hinduism. His response, well, this has nothing to do with the Hindu religion. Wow. And to date, except for us, nobody has challenged this. Think about that. Using the Sanskrit Hindu words, remember Sanskrit is religious language, Sanskrit and Tamil, Hindu religious language. Using the Sanskrit words namaste and yoga and ashtanga and Patanjali and ashram and Swami, and then completely denying that this is about the Hindu Dharma, Hinduism. If you can buy that, think of the following. Hallelujah. My name is Priya Devi, and I am a 200-hour certified baptism and communion teacher. And I am a direct disciple of evangelist Jimmy Swaggart. And I have lived in seminaries in America and Europe. I'm part of the Baptism Alliance. I'm heavily into meditation. And I follow the traditional 10 commandments of the Bible. Now, some have queried that why am I not respecting that this is all about the Christian religion? My response to them is that baptism and communion, this underwater therapy and wine tasting, have absolutely nothing to do with the Christian religion. And those that think otherwise are simply narrow-minded fundamentalists to be ignored. Those into today's quote-unquote yoga, are you going to continue to ignore? Fellow Hindus, are you going to continue to ignore and even capitulate to this so-called modern yoga? It's way past time to stop capitulating and start educating. Those who are truly interested in the Hindu Yoga Dharma, let them come and study. But don't ever make them teachers before they fully commit to becoming Hindus. And those who want to continue to distort our many Hindu yogas for their own commercial gain and popularity and and fame, you need to confront them. Like Hanumanji, like Krishna, like Skanda Murga, find your youthful, like Durgama, find your youthful, loving warrior spirit. Stand up for the Hindu yoga dharma. Protect the dharma, yes, and the dharma will protect you. Or we can let the colonization, invaders, elitism continue. The choice is up to us.